Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is going to be a doozy of a video. If you're not new here, this is also going to be a doozy of a video. Anyway, back in January, I posted part 1 of this, and it was essentially the story of my life up until grade 7. And I always intended to post part 2, so this is part 2! Enjoy! Okay guys, here we go. I've moved the camera to a better location. I'm also gonna sit here and do my fucking nails at the same time. Because, why? Because the whole point of this is to kind of act as a catharsis for me, because I harbor a lot of internalized homophobia. I hate the fact that I'm homophobic towards myself, because I'm a homo, but it's so deeply ingrained into my human self. What? It's so ingrained in my being that I don't know how to get rid of it. For me, it's a bit of a catharsis. It's good to talk about it sometimes. So we left off on grade 7. Grade 8, things got very interesting. So in my hometown, we had dances every Friday night. And because of those dances, I met a girl who was several years older than me. So grade 8, I would have been 13. 13? Okay, 13. See, the timeline gets really confusing for me because so much has gone on in my life. Like, I added it up one time and it's been like 40, almost 50 times that I've moved since I was 12. 13, I guess. So I always say 12. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know. I'm now 32 years old. As a 32-year-old man, I find it really bizarre that a 17-year-old would be attracted to a 13-year-old. And I was a young 13-year-old. I just turned 13 going into grade 8. Anyway, I met this girl, we became good friends, we started dating. That time, I really hadn't come out to anybody or to myself. The way that I explain it to people is that I was so busy trying to explain away the fact that I wasn't, that I never actually gave myself the opportunity to really sit down and try and figure out who I was. Whether I was attracted to women or to men or to both or whatever. I just started dating her and we were together over a year. The relationship took me to places that no 13-year-old should go. Just saying, as an adult. I did end up moving in with her. Her and her family were good enough to allow me to move in with them. So, in the new year, things had got really bad at school. Essentially, either I wasn't going, or I would go and leave partway through the day. And things with the people that were harassing me never got better. So, the girl and I came up with a plan for me to move there. And I did. I moved in with her at 13. Again, as a 32-year-old, I can't fathom that. My nephew's now the same age. If he tried to do that, I would punch him in the face. No, I wouldn't, but I would want to, and I wouldn't allow it. I would fight tooth and fucking nail. But anyways, that's besides the point. I moved in with her and lived with her for just a few months because really my schooling didn't get better. I moved to that school and made a really, quite a few actually, really good friends that are still friends today actually, but the bullying was nowhere near as intense. It's a bigger town that I was in, so it's not like I was scared to leave my house like I was in my hometown, but it really didn't get that much better, and being away from home just added to the misery, I think. And then I decided to move back home, so I moved back home with my parents. It wasn't a warm reception, let's just put it that way. And by that point, I believe it was April, so I had like 2 months and then school was over, and then the whole family moved to the town that I had just moved back from. So I ended up back in that school system, but I lived kind of out in the boonies, I call them. We lived kind of out in the woods almost. It was close enough that I could walk in like an hour. It wasn't conducive to having and maintaining friendships because none of us were old enough to drive at that point. It's also important to note that my anxiety at that point was so bad, at that point I would have been 14, that I refused to take the bus. Because in my hometown I never had to get on a bus before. The bullying didn't get better, but I was out in the woods, and so therefore it was a little bit healthier for me in the sense that I could get outside and not be under constant stress. So then at some point in like October, I believe it was, I was asked to leave by my stepfather. I don't remember exactly what happened. It's been almost 20 years. Oh my god. Is that right? 2003? Yeah. That makes me want to vomit. I don't remember what happened, but my stepdad told me to get out, basically. So my dad came and I moved out. So back in my hometown I was, back to being afraid of my own shadow. Thank God for cousins that I had living down the street because they kept me sane. This takes me into grade 10. By the end of that year, I did okay, but I had fallen off track and started hanging out with other people around town, trying to be the cool kid. And I wound up mixing myself with a crowd that was into drugs and stuff. They're still really good people. I want to put it out there. A lot of teenagers try it, whatever. I don't blame anybody for my decision to try anything. It was just around, and so a curious kid wants to try it. Well, let me fucking tell ya, I tried ecstasy once. I get anxiety just thinking about it. First of all, I had a complete mental breakdown during the trip. I had a bad trip. Bad trip. The way she brought me out of it was by grabbing my hand and saying, "You're fucking awesome." And for the rest of the night, I ended up just petting her. Wee woo, wee woo. But it was genuinely one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever had in my life. It scared me, and so I've never tried another drug. I mean, I'm a pothead and everybody knows that, but never again, never again. So this would have been the beginning of grade 11. No, this would have been during grade 11. I just started not being a nice person. I stopped volunteering, I stopped going to school, like actually quit. In the year that I was in grade 11, I got 0.5 of a credit when normally a person would get 8 credits, 8 full credits. So that would have been like my grade 11 year. So in what would have been my grade 12 year, I, during the summer before that year, begged my friends. Well, actually, my girlfriend at the time in a town that I now call my hometown. I consider it my hometown because it's truly where I felt at home for the first time in my life. They finally gave in begrudgingly because I was dating their daughter, even though I was visibly gay. But I mean, parents have that right. I really had to get down on bended knee and basically beg them and come clean about what was going on in my life in Spring Hill and tell them that I was going down a path that I was trying to avoid going down. They ultimately gave in. My dad begrudgingly allowed it to happen, and it ended up being one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I went as an out bisexual at that point, and I started school telling people that I was attracted to men. I didn't hide it, because at that point I had realized I had started kind of talking to people a little bit. It was still a very shameful thing. I don't know if any other like little gay kids went through this, but as a kid, like, you feel such shame over any impure thoughts over another guy because you know that your whole existence has been plagued by the fact that you could be or are attracted to the same sex. And so Parsrow was my safe haven. I went there, I quickly fell into my skin. And so that's it. That's basically what my high school experience was. That takes me to grade 12. I graduated. My parents were there. My mom cried, which made me bawl on stage. It was awful. The next part of the story will explain why my marks were only half decent, how I rectified that. Basically what's happened since. Because there has been a lot, all of which has been my fault. I'm an imperfect person, and I am learning every goddamn day about who I am, trying to figure out how to manage anxiety and depression, and trying to manage who I am as an individual, as a gay man, because I inherently recoil against anything that has the homophobic connotation that comes along with it. I've never been to a gay pride parade. I don't feel comfortable. And in a video to come, I am going to talk about what it's like to be a gay man with an imperfect body, with an imperfect figure, with imperfect self-confidence in a community that is so superficial. I don't need to look up dating profiles that says no fats, no femmes. Sorry, I am who I fucking am, and most of the time, if you met me in real life, you'd probably like me, regardless of the fact that I'm feminine, or regardless of the fact that I am chunky. You know? Please forgive me for shouting at you. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for now. That's the end of the video. If you liked it, I don't know why you would, but if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button. If you're returning to my channel, I love you. I miss you guys so fucking much. I hate that my internet sucks so bad. I will talk to you guys as soon as I can, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope you're all staying safe in this fucking crazy pandemic, because we're locked down again and I'm going nuts. I'm not even allowed to leave my county. Anyways, I love you guys.